Hi, I'm Anquinette Crosby here at the National Harbor. Behind me is the Gaylord Resort and Convention Center, which offers great views of the Potomac and is located just 8 miles from downtown D.C.
It's also the site of one of the area's most popular holiday attractions. It's called ICE, and this year's theme features Christmas from around the world. I have great visuals to show you from that installation and more stories to share in just a moment.
But first, welcome to Artico, Art in Your Community. So you're in a store that's all lit up and sparkly like the tree behind me, and you're pretty pleased with yourself because you've just purchased something that's quite special, and you probably thought that this was your idea.
But perhaps you had a little push from the folks whose job it is to lure you to the cash register with devious and dazzling displays. They're called visual merchandisers. They get you in the store and keep you there, perhaps a little longer than you planned.
A visual merchandiser, in an overall nutshell, is we are responsible for what the store looks like. What we do here is get them through the door, through our windows, and then keep them in the store through all the presentations like this one you see here. We actually interpret our directives for where merchandise goes within the building. We work with the merchant teams to make sure you have a very friction-free shopping experience. You know, can you get through the aisles? Even something as simple as how the denim is folded on the table. So it's not just about a mannequin or a sign or the painting of a wall or a great prop. It's more than that. It's the entire package. Color trends, fashion trends affects us greatly. Obviously, it affects what we choose to use for propping and collateral. It affects our graphics, how we sign it, how we get that message across to the customer that they can understand it. You know, sometimes it could be as simple as, you know, dressing your mannequins in red, but we take it another step further by giving them this wow presentation, really elevating it super high to blow them away with red. So they go, okay, we get the message, red, buy red. We have this thing called the Santa Project, in which, you know, it's going out on apps and on websites. Do you believe in Santa? You know, so all the things that are inherent to our DNA when we think about Christmas is what you're going to see on the windows. We celebrate. We believe. We believe in magic. We believe in giving. We believe in Santa. So you'll see those on the street. First of all, you have our corporate direction for our window. We have to make that work within our architecture, and that's where the creativity comes in. You know, a lot of the original stores have these walls that you can do great presentations on. We don't have those walls here. We're a freestanding store in downtown DC. We're not attached to a mall or any of that kind of stuff. So when you look at our space here, that creativity, that imagination, you know, what do we do with that? How do we take a package, or how do we use the space that we have? In this instance, we went up. Didn't have a wall, so we create walls. Not everybody's going to have the same taste in fashion. Corporate may give you a direction in fashion, but you know who your customer is in your market. And then you've got a budget. So how are you going to take this, make it wow on X amount of budget? It takes about at least a month or so just planning it out, and then the actual execution takes a week. With our holiday package, that takes 2 to 3 weeks of construction. A lot of graphics and stuff we also do in-house. You know, a lot of the painting and building is also in-house. I have an amazing team here. I'm very, very blessed to have 5 very talented young women, you know, who can use everything from a, you know, small blade to a chop saw. Customers tell us very literally what they liked about the building. So I use it as a gauge. You know, we call it customer environment. shopping is an experience. You know, you want to go to a place, you want to try things on. Do windows still affect this? Yes. Windows has evolved and windows have changed. Like, say for instance, some of us will go more graphic, some of us will go more opulent. But as an art form, windows are still here. And windows will continue. But when you think about it, you know, like a downtown experience, when you walk at night, you're going to a restaurant, you pass great windows. You know, you don't think about it so much, but it is part of that whole city vibe and that whole city experience that you are going to be entertained by windows.
Ten professional artists and a group of men and women living with mental disorders came together to collaborate and create art on canvas.
The work emerging from this alliance is on display at the Dennis and Philip Ratner Museum in Bethesda, Maryland. The exhibition is called Dialogue, a visual conversation.
Studio Insight is an art program that began about 10 years ago. It started with 4 artists. Currently we work with up to 50 artists every week, and we provide studio space as well as materials and instruction to artists who attend the Cornerstone Montgomery program. Cornerstone Montgomery has a partnership with the Dennis and Philip Ratner Museum that has been donated specifically to showcasing the work of artists living with mental health disorders. And currently our big project is Dialogue, a visual conversation.
The idea of it originally was just to have the community artists come in and present their work and then see what that inspired with the Studio Insight artists. But we also thought it would be interesting if some of us created work in response to the inspiration from the work of the Studio Insight artists.
For this body of work, I have been paring down the marks in my paintings and thinking about the relationship of positive and negative space. So the students that reacted to my work, I think, were also trying to do that, to work with just a few marks, but also to have some very intentional marks along with the drips and trying to figure out how to control those things in addition to kind of just letting things happen.
One artist, Sandra Davis, did an interactive painting, collaborative painting project. So there were different ways that we were engaged together.
I literally brought a suitcase full of found papers and stuff and ribbons and whatever else I could find to pull together, and sort of dumped it on the table, and we all had at it. We really just wanted to put together as many pieces and thoughts and paint and ideas that we could possibly do on one piece to show the collaborative effort. Being able to collaborate with another group of artists that may not necessarily do things the same way I do lent itself to create some really beautiful work.
I think it really gave the artists of Studio Insight permission to play with new materials and just new ideas in their own art.
For a long time I had wanted to do black and white, and when I suggested it, they said, well, maybe later. When I met Wes and Joan and saw his work, I jumped to it, and they gave me an okay to try to do black and white too. So it was something that I had always wanted to do. It just didn't seem to have a real reason to until we got together and did the dialogue.
Just that whole combination of working with artists that are have mental health challenges on the daily, and understanding how they are able to parlay that into creative works and to actually match local artists that are that have done some great work in the DC community that are renowned nationally. I thought that was just an interesting combination.
I think what's most important is to understand that when you're creating, that there's something kind of in the air, and that when I was working on the pieces that I was working on, it was more about how do we tell the stories of those of us who are of Middle Passage descent, and Sharon's work really reflects that as well. There's not a hierarchy of paint over found objects, whatever you need to express yourself. And I think that's what really comes through when we were able to interact with the other artists, that we all had that. We had that kind of compulsion to express maybe a story or a feeling or a vignette of an idea.
What I didn't anticipate, what I forgot or it never occurred to me is the amazing sense of community and excitement, this just heightened level of energy from all the artists getting together. Will this happen again? And I'm pretty sure it will. The Studio Inside artists have encouraged us time and time again to come back, and so we think about ways to enhance the program going forward.
One of the most iconic attractions here at the National Harbor is the Capitol Wheel. Open since 2014, it soars 180 feet above the Potomac riverfront. Now it's open all year, and many have said it's like sitting on top of the world.
Well, I know something else that can give you a lift, especially during the holiday season. It's finding that perfect, unique gift for that special someone. For the past 26 years, that's what Juanita BZB Britain's Black Holiday Gift and Art Show has been all about.
I was on a trip, vacation in London, and I went to Brixton. And I went to an affair in Brixton where all the artisans and designers, this is 28 years ago, were together at a venue where everything was fabulous, and I had not ever seen anything like it. So I brought the concept back to Washington, D.C., and 2 years after getting back from England, I decided to do the Busy Bee Gift Show. And it started at Shiloh Baptist Church in the basement with 11 vendors. The first weekend we do Black Friday, it starts with about 45, and then it peaks out to have about 115 vendors. We have 2 floors of shopping. It's like being in a department store, they told me. So I started to call it the BZB Black Gift and Art Show, the Black Department Store, just because a customer told me they liked it and it felt like a department store. The artisans and exhibitors that come to my show are selected because of their quality of work. So we have artisans that do fine art, we have jewelry artists, we have fashion designers that do couture work, and some that manufacture.
I'm Carolyn Wilburn. I'm out of Atlanta, Georgia, and Los Angeles.
And I'm Karen Kelly. I'm from Washington, D.C. I'm her model.
We design one-of-a-kind pieces, and basically it's made out of tapestries. You got different looks, just a different cut, just for the girl that can wear some funky boots with it and stuff like this. And then the piece that I'm wearing, just a pullover. It's easy for this weather in D.C. I come every year. WillbornSistersDesigns.com.
I'm Dr. Foots, and I'm from New Orleans. I've been designing jewelry for 42 years. Well, I use mostly all natural stones, turquoise, amber, tourmaline. I have a lot of people that like my jewelry, and I do everything myself. I cut, polish the stones, set them myself, so I'm on the workbench all the time. I do Erykah Badu's jewelry. I do about 90% of her work, so she has a lot of my creations on. I always say I make the royal jewels, because this is for you to pass on to somebody.
A lot of African American artisans like to do things that reflect culture. And you know, the African culture is high design, high style. There are many artisans and designers that do reflect Africa, but most reflect African American culture.
And this Puzzle Block set teaches African American history through the lens of self-leadership. So we're teaching children from preschool age to learn more about their heritage, so they can be connected to them, and also so they can develop self-leadership skills at a young age. Everything was designed by me in regards to my ideas and how I wanted to form and be. And this is some characters I developed named Bevy and Dave, who is my daughter, by the way. Bevy's my daughter, and they're the self-leadership gurus.
I use the concept of medicine in my work, so that art is where healing takes place. So this is the foundation of the work. I use no machines whatsoever, so it's all handmade, one of a kind. The chairs is part of a line called the reverse bounty. These are chairs I picked up from the garbage, stripped, and we finished them. We discard a lot of things, you know? So this is a commentary on that. This particular piece is called I Am. It's about abuse, especially abuse done to women. So she is saying, I am a woman, I stand tall, I stand strong. Never would I allow anyone to break me down.
It's over 5 weekends. This year we're adding December 23rd, which is a Friday, and it's called the BZB Big Black Friday.
Okay, I'm a milliner. I'm originally from England. I've been designing 25 years. So I would say a master milliner. I am an avant-garde kind of designer, so I have Caribbean roots. I love color. I dye all the colors, so I'm interested in just unusual shapes, definitely architectural pieces. Color, shape, pizzazz, style.
Many people tell us that they only shop at the holiday at the Busy Bee show. And if I ever think about not doing the show, the energy would just not be right for me to enter the new year, because it's so rewarding to work with all these artisans and designers.
This might maybe about my 10th year. It's one of the better shows because of Busy Bee and because of the energy. That's why I like it.
It's a new take on the holiday season, as DC's internationally known percussive dance company, Step Africa, invites you to celebrate the holidays with clapping, stomping, and fun for all ages. The program features some furry friends and a special dance party with DJ Frosty the Snowman. It's Step Africa's magical musical holiday step show through Friday, December 30th. Ice skating at the National Gallery of Art continues through March 12th. You can slide and glide in the sculpture garden surrounded by large-scale sculptures by a variety of contemporary artists. The rink is closed when raining or if the temperature dips below 20 degrees. Check out Through Their Eyes, showcasing works from the Center for the Visual and Performing Arts programs at Suitland and Northwestern High Schools. Besides celebrating the achievements of the county's artistic talents, the exhibit also promotes art education. You can see Through Their Eyes at the Prince George's African American Museum and Cultural Center through January 31st, 2017.
A couple of years ago, the slang term on fleek, F-L-E-E-K, first referred to perfect eyebrows, and then it expanded to include anything that's on target and on point.
A beautiful brow to me means that you have a full natural brow with a beautiful arch that just doesn't look overdone, where you don't need a ton of makeup to fill in, and it's sculpted. When it comes to designing a brow, there's no appropriate or inappropriate. It's more about what's most flattering on that person's face according to their features. I believe people make the biggest mistake following what they learn in what I call a quick hair removal. So that could be threading or waxing. When we go home and try to repeat those things and keep our brows clean, we tend to follow where the brow is designed. So we kind of go in that area and either overpluck or over trim brows, and they just become choppy and not natural. I look at a face and imagine what a perfect brow on that person would look like. So the first thing that I do is actually look at the natural brow. Chrissy has a beautiful brow, but there's always a way to maximize and make the brows look defined and natural. So one of my main things is I like to what I call style the brow, which means just like a hairstylist, I'm gonna lay out the hair in the natural direction that it grows. Most people are used to the brows being brushed up this way and then trimmed. One of my biggest things is brushing the hair in the natural direction. And what that does, it lays a lot neater and you actually see the brow forming and having to do less hair removal. So the next thing that I do is I dab a little Vaseline on the skin. Since I do specialize in tweezing only, it could be a little tedious, but it's actually easier on the skin and not aggressive. And I'll go in and actually start to pluck the extras. I constantly brush through the brow. What that does, it allows me to not just overwhelm the brow. It takes a little longer to do this, but visits actually become less consistent, where typically a person may get waxed or threaded every few weeks, every 2 or 3 weeks. This becomes more like 4 to 6 weeks, which is a pretty average return visit for most of my clients. The key to tweezing is to not be tough or rough or quick when you try to do it. Once I'm typically done, I will show the client, if it's necessary, either a styling product, or if the person needs it, a way to fill in the brows that's natural and doesn't look overdone. So what I would recommend for Chrissy, and she doesn't need a lot, I would probably take a medium powder, and I always recommend going in from the ends in short little strokes and kind of filling in the brow. This is a way of filling in where she may have a little separation as we wait for the brows to grow in a little bit. This is it.
9 chilly degrees, master Chinese artisans, and 2 million pounds of hand-carved ice. It's a recipe for some annual frosty fun here at the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center.
People can come this year to Gaylord National to see our new ice exhibit of Christmas Around the World. It's one of the most educational attractions that we've done, as well as the most colorful. This is our 8th year, and it's something that we love to bring back year after year. We actually bring in about 2 million pounds of ice. It's all comes to us in a block form. We bring about 6,000 blocks. Each weighs around 300 to 400 pounds, and our artisans travel from Harbin, China. We get 35 of them, and they come and carve the entire attraction in about 30 days. So it's an incredible process to see. These guys are absolutely masters of what they do. They've traveled from Harbin, which is the ice capital of the world. So this is something that they're familiar with. They bring their own tools. They actually make them themselves, and they're passed down generation to generation. So you can actually see some of the artisans featured in our Frostbite Factory, which is an area where you learn about the entire process of ice and see them working on different sculptures live.
是因为我的启蒙老师是这李老师，他从小教我美术，然后后来接触这个雕塑行业，然后开始做冰雕。首先用那个笔要画出它的大概形状，然后通过大的刀叉给它下大料，就是把大块全去掉，然后再通过这个小刀，然后一点一点给它往里精修一些。我现在在这个做这个火车的烟囱。 然后给它画线，然后起大型，就是上面这个位置啊，对。要快的话是1天左右，再快点就是半天。
Like the tiger in the other room, he would take a day to finish it. If the fast way, half day.
Don't you ever get cold?
你冷吗？
不冷。
I think a lot of people are always very surprised by the sculptures themselves. I think when you see colored ice, it's not something a lot of people are used to. You're used to seeing those clear sculptures, so they don't even believe it's really ice. The ice comes from a factory in Ohio. It comes pre-colored, so we have about 16 different colors that we can use in any ice attraction. Throughout Christmas Around the World, you'll see about 12 colors that are highlighted, but in the Frostbite Factory, you'll see all 16 colors of ice that we can create. One of the most thrilling attractions of ice is our ice slides. We have 5 of them. They're 2 stories tall, and adults and kids alike can go down them as many times as they like.
That I've had since I was a little kid.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's so cool.
Unbelievable that they can do that.
The theme is really cool this year too.
Yeah. Gives us a taste of winter when it's 70 degrees out, right?
We also have interactive components in this attraction, especially within the North Pole area. And that's where you can sit in Santa's sleigh, which is made completely of ice. We have these elf sculptures that you can stick your head in and be an elf. So there's a lot of really fun components as well throughout the attraction this year. We typically will see anywhere between 100 to 200,000 guests throughout the Christmas season.
It's kind of phenomenal. Like, we walked in and kind of surprised us. Very chilly, but the Parkers are keeping us warm. So I think she's interested in everything. She's 2, so she's a little young to tell us how she feels, but she's kind of like looking around like, what's going on? And she's the warmest of us all.
We are actually open through January 1st. We're open daily, so people have plenty of time to come out during the holiday season and experience our attraction. This has definitely been something that a lot of people have been really excited to see. I think just because being in the Washington, D.C. area, we have so many different cultures here, they're usually going to be able to find something that represents them during the holiday season.
So now we've come to the end of another article and I'm having so much fun, I don't want to say goodbye. But before we go, here's a Did You Know?
Did you know that the master carvers who create the Gaylord's ice show come from a province in northeast China that is world famous for its annual ice festival? Every winter, more than 2,000 sculpture artists carve a 100-acre ice city with ice taken from a river in the province. Now that's amazing.
I'm Anquinette Crosby, and from my family to yours, please enjoy your holidays. And until next time, remember to always follow your art.
This program was produced by WHUT, Howard University Television, and made possible by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.